everyone. Welcome to History with Hersafat. I'm your host, Chris, aka Hersafat. Today we'll be continuing our discussion of the decade that was the 80s with the year 1983. The views shared on this podcast come from your everyday ordinary people. My hope is that it'll give unique perspective on history. Future podcasts are going to be doing the years 1984 and 85, continuing our decade of the 80s. And for those that listen to our podcast via Spotify, Apple, or Google, we also have a YouTube channel showcasing a number of top-notch videos highlighting some borderline funny moments from our podcast for your viewing pleasure. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Today with us, we have Nick again and John. John is making his return for the decade of the 80s.
Third time. Woo.
Yeah, 1983. Good to have you back. Good to have you back. All right, guys.
That's a nostalgic year for me.
Yes. And why is that? May I ask? Why is
because I came to be.
You came to be.
Yeah.
So, what do you remember from your very first year of being alive?
I wanted to go back.
You wanted to go back in the womb?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I was cesarean, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I turned around and said, "Hell no." But whatever.
Yeah.
The bastards came in through the top.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late. Yeah. You're having a nice little nap, whatever. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll move right into the weird news of the week. As of right now, let's get that pulled up here. That's me ever prepared.
Is it New York Times again?
No, it's actually the Huffington Post. I had to do a little digging because of it was so recent that I looked at the last weird news, so there wasn't a lot of time to pass for me to get something else. So I just did some digging. This one's from the Huffington Post. It's not a very long article, but it did make me laugh. So the title of this article is, I believe it's from the 2021, so not too far away. Or far in the past. Title is Drunk Man Reported Missing, Joined Search Party for Himself. In Ankara, in Turkey, in a scene worthy of a comedy sketch, a Turkish man joined a search party for a missing person, not realizing the individual being pursued was him. Vaughan, of 51 years old, went drinking with a friend in a forest in the town of Ingol, northwest Turkey, late Tuesday. His wife reported him missing after he did not return home, and she heard he had walked away from his friend drunk. Gendarmerie and rescue teams, I believe that's the name of his wife, were called in to find Mutlu, who had gone to sleep in a house in the forest. Turkish online news site T24 reported Friday. He came across members of the search party in the morning and decided to help find the missing person. He realized he was the focus of the search when they began calling his name. After a while, they said they were looking for Vaughan Mutlu. T24 quoted him as saying, "I broke into a cold sweat when I heard my name. I told them I was Vaughan Mutlu, but they continued to search."
Where is he?
I'm here. Mutlu continued, "They didn't believe me. The truth came out when my friend Masood saw me." Mutlu said he was part of the search team for more than a half an hour. Yep. And that is the end of the article. But yes, pretty funny stuff. Imagine that, being pissed drunk, waking up in the morning like, oh, is somebody missing? Oh. Well, that's a different lifestyle. I tell you what, if I woke up pissed drunk, like hungover, and there's like a search party going on, I'm going to sober up. I'm going to take some ibuprofen, drink some water. You know, I'm going to get myself. Right. I wouldn't necessarily join a search party. Which is really, it's not my first thought here, but yeah, he did, and go figure, it was for him, which is really
good
funny.
Luck with your search.
Yeah, right. Hope you find him.
Yeah, hope you find him. I'm going to bed.
Oh God, yeah.
Here's my question: was he wearing Where's Waldo clothes? Because that would have been cherry on top.
No, yeah, that would have been if he had like an oddly like red and white striped shirt, like just for the heck of it, and a matching hat, glasses. Yeah. That would have been interesting, but there's no picture of him. I didn't see in the article, but yeah, we can do some dig deep and see if we can find anything.
Dig deep in.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, then. That was the weird news of the week. Thank you. All right. And without further ado, we will now move into the timeline section of the podcast for the year 1983.
Remember this face.
Good morning, everyone. There appears to have been a very serious accident involving the Space Shuttle Challenger.
What you talking about, Will?
Good evening. Millions of people mourned the tragic death of John Lennon today, the young and the middle-aged.
There has been a nuclear accident in the Soviet Union, and the Soviets have admitted that it happened. The Soviet version is this.
Where's the beat?
Astonishing news from East Germany, where the East German authorities have said, in essence, that the Berlin Wall doesn't mean anything anymore.
Afternoon, everybody. No!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And on January 8th, 1983, Kim Jong-un is born in North Korea. His birth would be celebrated by all North Koreans, both past and present. And just like his father before him, his birth saw a new star created and winter turned to spring. But unlike his father, Kim Jong-un's birth included the creation of the McRib. Kim Jong-un would go on to become a gifted sailor, learn to drive at the age of 3, and become a celebrated musical composer and artist worldwide.
Wow.
Those are
you say January?
Yeah, January 8th. So, yeah.
He's 20 days older than me.
Yeah. Well, there's the thing about that. That's the most commonly accepted date for his birth.
Oh, so it's kind of like Jesus. Got it.
Yeah. Except there's more evidence for him actually existing.
For real.
Yeah. There's pictures of him. Actual,
Probably the same temperament.
When someone says Kim Jong-un spoke to me, he probably actually did. There's a good chance. But like with North Korea, the way that it's how horrible it is, that it's misinformation and whatnot, nobody knows what the hell's going on. There's rumors that he was born a year before and a year after, 1984. It's all the same day. They definitely have January 8th down, but it's just the year people are unsure on. But it's commonly accepted or believed that it was January 8th, 1983. All right. On February 28th, 1983, the television show MASH would air its final episode to an audience of 121.6 million viewers, a record viewing for a television series finale that stands to this day. This is due mostly to the fact that there were only 4 channels at that time, and it was either MASH or Manimal. We'll figure out what Manimal is in a little bit here.
All right.
Yeah. It's kind of like Corona and Lime, and like just constantly leaving little nuggets along the way until we get to what the hell that is.
Gotcha.
On March 23rd, 1983, President Ronald Reagan announces to the American public his Missile Defense Initiative, SDI, will use satellites to thwart enemy missile strikes. Senator Ted Kennedy would call the initiative reckless Star Wars schemes. President Reagan would respond with, if it's good enough for Duke Skywalker, it's good enough for America. On April 11th, Dave Mustaine is fired from Metallica, just as the band is set to begin recording its debut album. He is replaced by Kirk Hammett. After the firing, Mustaine was quoted as saying, I totally get it. I hold no grudges towards those guys, and I wish Lars, James, and Cliff all the best. You could consider me Metallica's biggest fan now. On May 6, 1983, Stern Magazine, a magazine located in Germany, publishes the Hitler Diaries. The diaries, which were purchased for a cool $9.3 million, are later found to be forgeries. The diaries would be reimagined, however, as a soft-core porn Cinemax show titled Red Shoe Diaries. It received rave reviews for its daring adaptation.
Jesus Christ.
Did he have a mustache and everything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Give mustache rides all day long.
Oh, God. Short ones.
On June 18th, 1983, NASA astronaut Sally Ride becomes the first American woman in space. She would later be considered to be simply the first woman in space after it was discovered the East German astronaut Frida was in fact a man. On July 21st, 1983, the lowest temperature on Earth is recorded in Bostock Station, Antarctica, at negative 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 89.2 degrees Celsius. The surveyors unfortunately forgot to bring extra gloves and subsequently perished after breathing.
You had extra gloves this whole time? I'm going to kill you.
That's all it took with extra gloves, man.
It.
They should have brought it.
Right?
I love that.
That's
brutally cold. Like that.
Yeah.
That is insane.
If they only brought the extra gloves, though,
Yeah.
Actually, if you were outside and you breathed the air at all, your lungs would freeze up. You'd be
right.
Dead. That's it.
Dead.
You're literally instantly dead. Yeah. Don't know why anybody. I'll take their word for it. Whatever you say, I don't care. Why would I go there? I don't know. Anyway, it also reminded me of the Simpsons episode where a lot of people died on like this expedition to get ice for Apu for the Quickie Mart. And he's like, if you can think of a better way to get ice, he's like, you got to find a new way to get ice, man. We lost 9 people that are. He's like, if you can think of a better way to get ice, I'd like to hear it. All right. On September 5th, 1983, the debut of the DARE program launches in Los Angeles, California. Within 10 years, DARE would spread across the United States, transforming students from naive children into full-fledged drug lords. On September 26, 1983, Soviet military officer Stanislav Petrov averts worldwide nuclear war by correctly identifying a warning of an attack by U.S. missiles as a false alarm. One of the numerous close calls since the invention of the atomic bomb. I'll take a second to talk about that. Yeah, just the alarm system went off claiming that missiles, supposedly fired from the United States were heading towards Russia, and everyone was like, you got to fire back, you got to hit them, and he's like, hold on, wait a second. If he doesn't do that, it's all fucked. So John was born, was it January 28th? You wouldn't have made it. I mean, that would have been not very long, man. You came out, you don't worry, you're going right back, because that was it. It's that close. The Bay of Pigs is one of my favorite stories about that sort of deal, where there was depth charges being levied on this, just underneath by the between Cuba and Florida, and there was a Russian sub there, a nuclear sub, and it was it was far down deep in the ocean, but it mistook the depth charges as an attack, something going towards them, and they started freaking out, and they figured World War III was happening, and so they all voted to fire the missile. There needed 5 yeses. Everyone on the sub needed to vote yes to do it. 4 voted yes, 1 guy voted no, and that is why we're all here. Because if he fires that missile, it's fucked. The United States fires back. It's basically Terminator 2. It's like that old saying, they fired first, and then the retaliation, and it's nuclear winter. And that's it. So that's another time that we came incredibly close to just all dying. On October 25th, 1983, word processor software Multi-Tool Word, soon to become Microsoft Word, is released in the United States. The makers of the typewriter were furious. Yeah. On November 26th, Quiet Riot's Metal Health album tops the U.S. album charts, the first heavy metal album to hit #1 in America. Fun fact, in 1989, the first heavy metal group to win a Grammy would be the all-time heaviest band, Jethro Tull, a well-deserved award. And on December 20th, 1983...
What?
Yep. That's very true. In 1989, the very first time that the heavy metal was up for Grammys, Metallica, I think, was in it for And Justice for All. I think that was the album that they were up for a Grammy for, but they lost to Jethro Tull.
Wow.
That flute is heavy, man.
That's
flute.
Crazy.
Yeah. Even Jethro Tull were like, what the fuck?
I'm going to say that they're a bit more, they're more progressive rock, I'd say.
Yeah, they didn't even show up because no one took the awards. So, yeah, just a ridiculous thing. But yeah, Quiet Riot, Metal Health was the first heavy metal album to hit #1 in America. And on December 20th, 1983, Donald Rumsfeld meets Saddam Hussein to show his support of his regime in hopes of ending the Iran-Iraq war. During their meeting, Saddam informed Rumsfeld that the war would end much sooner and peace in the Middle East was entirely possible if he could just get an Arby's Big Beef and Cheddar with curly fries and an iced tea. Rumsfeld reportedly scoffed at the idea and immediately flew back to Washington. All right, and that will do it for our timeline of 1983. Yay! All right. Yeah, 1983 wasn't it was an interesting year. There wasn't a great deal of stuff that happened. There was a few things, but it was there were some months where I'm like, nothing is going on here. I guess I'll bring that up. I guess I'll talk about that. But it is what it is. All right, we'll now move into the movie section of the podcast. Movies of 1983.
I am your father.
Fuck you, asshole.
Inconceivable. That's right, boys. It's Dr. Venkman.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Nice fucking model! I work for Dick Jones! Dick Jones! Game over, man. Game over.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Here's Johnny.
And for the top 10 movies in terms of gross for the year 1983, number 10, we have National Lampoon's Vacation. Have you guys ever seen the original National Lampoon?
Going to Wally World, man.
Yeah, I love that movie.
See, I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I never really wanted to see it. I don't know. I have this thing with Chevy Chase. I like him in Christmas Vacation and Dirty Work, and that's about it.
Well, I'd say that that National Lampoon's like that original one you're talking about that in 1983 was good, right? Was great, actually.
Yeah.
Then Christmas Vacation is just as good.
Okay.
As
Yeah.
Christmas Vacation.
Definitely.
Definitely worth watching.
You have any scenes that stick out to you? I've seen highlights,
yes,
clips. Go on.
several. Like when Grandma's on the top of the the station wagon, you know. The fact that he had the dog tied to the bumper and he drove away, and there was a leash. It was just a leash.
Yeah.
And it got pulled over by a cop and all that. There's so many great moments. They literally just leave the grandma dead on like this rocking chair or whatever.
Oh my God.
Outside of and then or the ending, of course, where I think it's John Candy, right?
Yeah, he's a security guard for that amusement park.
Sorry,
It's hysterical.
folks. Park's closed.
Yeah. Exactly. Chevy
Like,
Chase
what do you mean?
holds him up by gunpoint so his family can ride the rides because they came all that way, and of course it's closed.
Yeah,
it's hysterical, man.
Yeah, that one's fantastic. Grandma dies in the back seat, and the one fucking trip. So they tie her to the roof.
And of course, cousin Eddie's in it too. So
right,
you gotta watch. Good stuff there.
There was one scene, excuse me, that I saw. There's like they were on a seesaw. Is one of cousin Eddie's children and one of Clark Griswold's children. They're on a seesaw, I believe a seesaw, and they're going back and forth on it. And cousin Eddie's child is like, "You ever French kiss before?" And she's like, "Yeah, of course I French kiss." "Yeah, I French kiss all the time. My daddy says I'm the best," or something like that. And I'm just like, "What the hell?" God, that's funny. All right. So yeah, National Lampoon's Vacation, number 10.
Yeah.
Number 9 was Risky Business. You guys ever watch that? Have you ever seen?
I have not actually.
I have watched it once.
Okay.
And it's okay. It's worth watching once. It's not. It's Tom Cruise. He gets his house for, I believe, a certain amount. It's a few months or something like that, or maybe a month. But he turns it into basically like a brothel. And he gets people come in, and he's collecting all this money, and then he falls in love with one of the head prostitutes, I guess. I can't remember the name of the actress, but I think it was Rebecca De Mornay. I think it was her.
Right.
But I can't remember. There's a Porsche involved. I really don't remember. I watched it once, like 20 years ago, and I never had the inkling to watch it again. That was good enough for me. I believe this is the famous where Tom Cruise is in a dress shirt and he's in his underwear, tidy whities. Yeah, it's a Bob Seger's old time rock and roll.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's literally the only scene I know from that movie.
Right. Exactly. Number 8, we have Staying Alive. Staying Alive, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. Not good from what I've heard about this movie.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, I can't remember. Obviously, John Travolta's in it, but I can't. It's not Olivia Newton-John, is it? Somebody else, some other blonde actress. I can't remember her name. But anyway, the plot was kind of rehashed and just not. Disco was already well on its way out by 1983, so it really had nothing to stand on.
It was a cash grab and it failed.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it did make it to number 8. But again, they didn't make Staying, or I don't know what would the third movie be. Saturday Night Live or Staying Alive. I don't know. That was the end of that series.
Not gonna die.
Not gonna. I don't know. Leaving, Going Dead. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, but we all know we're definitely gonna move on. Number 7, the 7th highest grossing movie of the year 1983 was Mr. Mom. Mr. Mom, with I believe that's Michael Keaton. Where he basically the idea is that the dad takes over for the mom, in the sense where he would do like what would be considered at that time traditional motherly
What a concept.
roles, right? Surely you just.
Wow.
You know, he's not dishes, get out of here. Laundry, mopping, no way.
Right.
Taking care of the
Dude.
children.
I gotta see this movie. This probably aged so poorly. This movie might be a gem, actually.
Yeah, I mean
gem.
it's Michael Keaton. So there's a chance it's all right. It's funny, but it just doesn't. It wouldn't fly today. Essentially,
no, not at all.
I mean, you could make it, but people would be like, "That's just like nothing." That's okay. A large portion of men do that sort of deal. So I don't know what we're really getting at here. All right, we'll now move on to number 6. The 6th highest grossing movie of the year 1983 was Octopussy, a James Bond movie.
Yep.
And I've never watched it. I never wanted to watch it. It was an odd title for a name. Something I felt like something with an octopus, but like something oddly sexual. I'm not sure if that's just what I'm reading between the lines there or reading too much into it. I have no idea what that movie's about.
Was that one with Sean Connery still?
No, that was a different guy. Who do they have in the 80s? It was one of the guys that did like 2 movies and that was it. And I can't remember his name, but Octopussy, that was it. I think there may be one more in the 80s, but then it's not like picked up again till GoldenEye. Like it was so bad, it took a 10-year break. It was like a hiatus or something, maybe 15. All right, but the number 5, the 5th highest grossing movie of 1983 was the movie War Games. War Games.
Oh, that's a classic.
Matthew Broderick. Why does they say you want to play a game and he's like thermonuclear war? Why is that the first one he goes to? I'd never seen the movie, so I'm just not sure. Like, isn't there a simpler game to go by?
Well, I mean, they started with tic-tac-toe.
Okay.
And then they moved on and on and on. And the thing, it was trying to basically break the computer into realizing that it was a no-win scenario. And they went, with thermonuclear war, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can't do this. Everyone dies. And it went through like thousands of iterations in like a half a second.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's always looked like a good movie, or at least worth one watch. But I've never seen it. It's Matthew Broderick, and I can't remember the actress's name. That's all right. It's worth watching once. Yeah. Number 4 was Trading Places. Top 4. Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and what is his name? Was it Dan Aykroyd? It's basically The Prince and the Pauper, if I'm not mistaken.
I was going to say, yeah.
Dan Aykroyd, yeah.
Yeah. That was a hit, another big hit. I mean, with 48 Hours, I think the year or two before, for Eddie Murphy, and then this is, I mean, the 80s were Eddie Murphy. He basically just went off at like 18. So, yeah. Trading Places. Have you ever seen that movie?
No. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of it, on like when I was playing on a TV or something.
Yeah, I never really got.
I wasn't like, I got to sit down and watch this.
Right.
I was like, yeah.
I feel like it's a story I've seen before. I'm not really interested.
It's definitely Prince and the Pauper, basically.
Yeah. All right. Well, number 3, the 3rd highest grossing movie of the year 1983 was the movie Flashdance. Now, I'm pretty sure this movie, this was a movie that was written that was about a real person, and she sold basically her story for like $5,000 to the studio to use for a movie that turned into Flashdance, which was the 3rd highest grossing movie in 1983. It grossed millions and millions of dollars, and she got $5,000, and that was all she got.
Jeez.
That was all she got for it. And I believe she was a waitress during the day and a stripper at night. She was working 2 jobs because she wanted to be a dancer, right? And like the whole movie, this is essentially her working her ass off to do this, to get,
right.
And nope, 5,000. That's all she gets, and that's the end of that. So
God,
that's rough. That's a rough one.
That's insane.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 is actually a carryover from 1982. Because it was, I believe, it arrived pretty late, but the movie Tootsie was my personal selection from 1982. One of them,
Tootsie,
with Dustin Hoffman, basically like Mrs. Doubtfire, but like more plausible. There's actually kind of a reason why he dresses up in drag, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, he just wasn't a complete psycho like
Mrs.
Doubtfire. Right.
I believe Tootsie is considered like an American classic film.
Okay.
But
Never
like,
seen it.
and like Mrs. Doubtfire. Well, it's Dustin Hoffman, so it's going to be well acted.
Right.
It's I think a good story, but again, I've never seen the whole thing, but it was good from what I had seen. So, but really, I mean, this whole list is basically leading up to the number one movie of 1983. Can anybody guess what the number one movie of 1983 in terms of gross? What was the number one movie?
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi?
E.T.?
No, E.T. was last year.
Oh, it was 82, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, probably Return of the Jedi, yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. You guys are correct. Absolutely. Return of the Jedi, number one movie in terms of gross for the year 1983. I could start off. You know what? I'll let you guys take the floor for a second. Go ahead. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, John, go ahead.
John,
you go ahead. You take. It's your year. So.
It's your year. Take the reins. Lead us on the journey. Ewoks.
Lead us on the journey.
Little furry pieces of shit that just
like a dingleberries.
First they want to eat everybody,
Right.
And then the C-3PO's like, nah, dude, I'm like a god or something, and oh man, the premise was I mean, it's basically A New Hope all over again.
Yeah.
It
does kind of end the same way in the Death Star 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting tidbit from it. I mean, it had its good scenes, right? Obviously the one previous to that one's the best one, Empire Strikes Back, but
oh yeah.
Interesting little tidbit though. So when they were throwing it together in production, like at the end, some of the makeup from the Emperor actually got on his hood, and there was a big white smudge on his hood. So they had to go frame by frame for the original thing and literally Sharpie it in. So if you can, so if you can, like on the not on they didn't reshoot or whatever. They literally just Sharpied the film. So if you go to if you ever see like the original unedited, uncut, one at the end when he's talking, and he's like shocking Luke and doing all that stuff, and those scenes right there when he's sitting on the throne a little bit before that too, like if you watch his hood, you'll see this black squiggly just moving all around. And
man,
it's like a worm or something.
So, was Return of the Jedi? Was that was the one where Boba Fett dies? Or supposedly dies.
Yep. Yeah, that's one where he gets fed to the Sarlacc.
It's okay. That part. Okay, so like I hadn't like sat down and watched the Star Wars trilogy like initially until like a few years ago, right? For a long time, I was just kind of putting it off. I was like, Star Wars is okay. I'm not gonna watch it. But then I eventually rewatched the original trilogy, and I just know of like Boba Fett, was like this really badass guy. But when that part came on where he died, I thought that was hilarious. It was really lame for such
absolutely
a strong character to I think it was, what was it? I think it was R2 or C-3PO said something, and then no, what I can't remember exactly because Han said
Han was
Boba
blind.
Fett, where?
Yeah.
And then he turns around and hits him with like this pole on accident. But I don't remember if who told him. Was it like it was
Chewie.
It R2 or C3? Was Chewie?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
And
right?
actually,
he understand. Yeah.
There's another thing from that too, right? Because he didn't. They did another thing where they failed in production because he says Boba Fett twice. If you listen to that,
really,
he said the line, and then instead of cutting it back, he said the line again, and then he turns and he hits his jetpack with the pole,
malfunctions,
and sends him into the thing, and then Sarlacc grabs him and
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, like it's the cheapest, dumbest death for such a good Star Wars character.
Yeah, it really took me out of the moment.
I mean,
when I watched that.
Yeah,
really
the Book of Boba Fett obviously fixes all that, but I mean,
right?
Yeah, it was bad.
So
yeah.
well, okay, I'll get into this. That thing that you're talking about with the Emperor in the Hood, for the longest time, I'm not even shitting you, for years, I was like, I know there's something that's supposed to be next to the Emperor's face right now. Something to do with this hood. I remember watching it when I was a child, and it being pointed out by our mom's brother, our uncle. He said, watch this part in the movie, because you'll see this black, and there it is, and he pointed it out, and I was like, oh, wow, we all saw it. We all laughed. And for years, I was like, I know there's supposed to be something there, but obviously they edited it. They're much better at it now. But I remember seeing that and not being able to.
They've got better things than Sharpies.
Right. For Boba Fett in the Sarlacc pit, there is a nod to his jetpack would malfunction. There's like a foreshadowing to that. I do agree that the slapstick Boba Fett, and it hits him, is a cheap way to go about it. I guess technically now he's not dead, so it's just a rather misfortunate thing. The CGI added in the 90s, the late 90s, I believe it was 1999, I believe the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, late 90s.
Yeah. They gave the CGI where the Sarlacc pit now has like a beak, and it makes more sense, sort of thing. But really, for me, one of the worst part about that scene was when Han is falling, but his feet get caught. He's like dangling on the tops of his feet. Yeah. He's hanging on to his ankles. And I just saw this. So he's like, aim a little higher. Are you shooting? Aim higher. And he shoots the Sarlacc, saves Lando and all that. That movie was originally going to be titled Revenge of the Jedi. And George Lucas thought, well, revenge doesn't seem like a Jedi trait, so Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly why they named the third one in the new trilogy, not the new one, but like the prequel. Anyway, they made it Revenge of the Sith instead of Return of the Sith.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, well, the whole movie. I mean, honestly, the first one's good. The second one is the best. But the third one, it really does. It has a lot of its moments. There's some rehashed stuff from the first movie again. And not only that, it gets one thing to, you do it once. Okay, you've done it twice. Never do that again. And then you've got The Force Awakens, which is kind of like, yeah, we did it again. But be that as it may, the Jabba the Hutt, the whole beginning, it starts off fantastic because people are waiting for 3 years to see what happens to Han Solo. Everyone's under the impression that he could be dead, or who knows what's going on. He's frozen in carbonite, but he's got all that stuff. Luke returns to see Yoda to continue his training, and Yoda dies and lets him know that Leia's his sister, which was not originally in the script. It was, or not necessarily in the script, in the story, that the idea was that Luke and Leia were going to get together. They weren't related, but obviously fans liked Han and Leia as a couple more than Luke and Leia. And so they decided to, well, let's make them brother and sister. And now they're twins or something along those lines. Okay. So they've added more to it retroactively, which doesn't help your story because it leaves lots of gaping holes and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of George Lucas backpedaling.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much of it. He should be worn out by now.
I mean, when they... there's that scene where after Luke finds out that Leia's his sister, and he goes to the... It's like after the Ewoks decide not to eat them, and they're on that bridge area, and Luke's like, what is it? And he's like, do you remember your mother? She's like, she died when I was very young. I was like, okay. And then obviously in Revenge of the Sith, very young is quite an understatement. It's literally out the womb. What do you remember about your mother? Oh, not a lot. What do the fuck do you remember straight out the womb when she's dead? That's it. What do you, it doesn't, anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
it's more this backtracking stuff. But he goes and he takes off, and he finally tells her, he's like, you're my sister, Leia, you're it. And he's like, I've got to go. And so then Han goes up and, he says, what is it? You can tell Luke, all that stuff. And at the end of the movie, he's like, if you love him, don't you? Well, yeah, of course. Like, all right, I'll stay out of the way. No, it's not like that. He's my brother. He's like, your brother? And that face he makes, it makes you wonder, is he thinking like, is he so shocked that he's his brother, or that I've seen you peck him on the lips and probably give a little tongue to your brother in like episode 2 there, lady. That's your brother? That's a bit weird. I don't know. I'm going to rethink this whole thing. Yeah. But there was that whole thing. I think my favorite comedic line in the entire, maybe the entire original, trilogy, is in Return of the Jedi. when C-3PO is when they all get caught in the net because Chewie finds the meat and the Ewoks trap him, and Luke can't reach his lightsaber. Just use the Force, Luke.
Yeah.
Use the Force, man. It's all for the
It's
plot.
The net, dude. It's the net.
It's that kryptonite or something. It's used to
the dark side net.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh god. The net falls down. Everything's everything all on the ground, whatnot. All the Ewoks mistake C-3PO. They think he's a god.
Mm-hmm.
And then Han is like, or not Chewie. He's like, okay, well, your Royal Highness, whatever it is, your Excellency or whatever. He says, use your godliness to get us out of this mess. And C-3PO says, I couldn't do it. Oh, what does he say? Impersonating a deity would be against my programming.
Yeah.
And that face that Han Solo makes is so, oh god, that whole just cracks me up. It's so funny. I know it's coming, but it still makes me laugh every time.
Harrison Ford's great, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like a similar scene like that is in one of the Indiana Jones movies when he's like, I think it was a Temple of Doom or something. He's like, we are going to die.
yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when the room's caving in, it's all closing.
Right.
Willie. Yeah. God, I think the fight scene between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker at the end. Fantastic fight scene. The music, the epic score that's playing is he just screams because he's going to go after Leia and all that stuff. And, it's this tense moment that's 6 years in the making. And it's all culminating to this one fight. And it's all going over very well. For me, there is this one little part where I noticed, I even have brought this up with people and they've tried to defend it, but it's true. It's not necessarily anyone's fault. It isn't 1983. But when they're fighting and it's Darth Vader, and Luke starts going ham, starts going crazy on him, he just falls over. There's no reason for him to fall at all. It's like he just takes a step and he's like an actor needs to meet their spot. He met his spot and went down to one knee. And then he keeps hammering and then he cuts off his hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
It literally is like completely like 100% what?
Right?
Choreographed like okay, time to get on my knee now.
Right? What? Yeah, exactly.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. And then it's like, good. And then he decides, I'll never join you. You're wrong. I'm a Jedi, like my father before me. It's so good. And then he's like, okay, Jedi, you will die. And he shocks him. No, father, please. That's my favorite. Where like Darth Vader, it's so fucking terrible because it's in the Blu-ray. It was perfectly fine. You don't need to have him say. I think they kind of guess that Darth Vader becomes less and less okay with this when he picks up the Emperor and chucks him down a vent or whatever the hell it is. They don't need to add the no. It's not necessary. We know that it's coming. How do you put that in there and think this is better? There was some confusion. What was he upset with him? I don't get it. Why would he chuck him down to his death? Go on.
Well, they did some George Lucas backpedaling once again when they made the prequels, right? And he finds out, he wakes up to basically reconstructed as
Frankenstein
Vader.
boots.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Where's Padme?" He's like, "You killed Padme." And he's like, "No, it's the same."
Yep.
George Lucas going, "See, he was like that the whole time.
Yep,
like that the whole time."
No, my thing that always cracked me up is in that fight, when Vader finally decides to get rid of Palpatine, like he picks him up and the dude doesn't fight him, he's just standing up there going like he doesn't even squirm. He's just like, okay, I'm gonna hold still for you. You could just chuck me. You know what I mean?
He becomes like a log.
This is fun.
Yeah, right. He was way more flexible against, right? Way more flexible against Yoda in Revenge of the Sith. He's flipping around. He's doing all this crazy shit. How many years? This was like, what, 15, 20 years later? He can still move around. Get the hell out of here. He's just like, oh, no, like I didn't see that move coming. It's just
sitting on that chair barking things like took a lot out of him. So,
and I think one of my favorite songs in the whole series is the Ewok theme. I don't know, it cracks me up. I can't, maybe I'll play that at the end. But yeah, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. It was a good movie. It was a good ending to the series. It's a good thing they never made anything else. They just left it alone. It's a perfect, good to go. Tough to beat that trilogy.
So anyway, how's the Mandalorian going?
I don't know. Once we're finished, I'll probably listen to this episode again and edit it and do all that stuff, and then watch the newest episode. It's episode 6, I think, tonight.
Oh,
yeah. This season's not as good as the season before, but I have hope. I'm hoping that it'll turn it around. Really, with Book of Boba Fett, like you were talking earlier, the first you learn more about the Sand People, which is really fascinating to me. The first couple episodes, and then it just becomes Mandalorian 2.5, and that's really I was like, oh shit, damn, okay, because then you get to find Luke between this movie and The Force Awakens, and Ahsoka. It's good. So, but yeah, that will do it for the top 10 movies in terms of gross for the year 1983, and we will now move into my personal film selections. I'm going to start with a classic movie. The Outsiders. You guys have seen The Outsiders, right? You read the book. I know it was
Outsiders. Yeah, that's a really good one, I think. I
can't remember the name of the author.
Yeah, the coming of age drama. Yeah, that's good. Good stuff, man.
Basically between like the greasers, like the jocks.
The Stay Golden Pony Boy.
Yep, that's that whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it stars Ralph Macchio. It's all the young actors of the 80s. The Ralph Macchio.
Okay.
C. Thomas Howell.
And it's actually
Patrick Swayze. Tom
movie
Cruise.
was Francis Ford Coppola film.
Is that Emilio Estevez?
Yep, Emilio Estevez. Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone. Yep. That novel was written by it's abbreviated. It's like 2 initials and whatever it is, but it's a woman. And we didn't.
J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, just like J.K. Rowling. No, it's just like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Canceled. Immediately canceled.
For the exact same for the exact same reason that J.K. Rowling did her J.K. Is the reason that I think it's H.E. something. I could be wrong. Maybe H.E. Pennypecker. Yeah.
Sounds right.
That's Seinfeld. It's Kramer's name. Penny. Pennypecker. But no, The Outsiders is a fantastic book, and it's a really good movie. Stars a young Diane Lane. It's a good timepiece. It's excellent. It's one of the better ones of the 80s. Do you have any favorite scenes? What have you guys seen that movie recently? I'm having a hard time recalling specific scenes. I know there's some bloopers that they left in.
I saw the movie once a long time ago, so I really don't remember much of it.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah, same here. I just know
know it from I saw the picture. Like I looked it up just now and saw the picture. So
I
was like, okay. Now I remember.
There's a scene. I think they're watching a movie, and they're sitting in chairs, and I can't think of his name. He's one of the older greaser guys. Anyway, he leans back in his chair and he falls over. He's not supposed to fall over, obviously. And Diane Lane starts laughing, and she's not supposed to laugh. And she looks at the camera, the crew, and the director to see if he wants to cut, and they don't do it. They just let it roll. So if you ever watch the movie, check that out. It's a scene where they're watching a movie and they're all sitting down in chairs. Moving to another personal film selection. Oh, sorry, go on, John.
So the author was S.E. Hinton.
S.E. Hinton, okay.
Susan Eloise.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
But we read that book in high school, and after it was finished, our teacher was like, this book was written by a woman. And we were like, huh? Shit. I didn't expect that. Not that they, just, I didn't think of it as
the tone of the book didn't feel like it was written by a woman.
Right. Or what you would normally assume.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the cast, and apparently Tom Waits was in this movie.
Oh, is he? Interesting.
Yeah. As Buck Merrill. Maybe it's just like a small role or something somewhere.
Yeah.
That's cool. I might actually watch this movie again.
Yeah, I think I might too. It's a pretty good one. All right. Well, I'll move into another personal film selections of mine. Who did you say did The Outsiders? You said Francis Ford Coppola?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, another personal film selection of mine, 1983, Scarface. The movie Scarface.
Hey.
Oh, nice.
Who did that movie? I feel like it's like the same guy. But anyway, Scarface, obviously, a mobster classic, probably the pinnacle, the movie that, I mean, there was The Godfather, The Godfather 2.
Oh yeah, that's Coppola.
Scarface
Obviously.
was
Apocalypse
directed
Now.
by Brian De Palma.
Oh,
and
Brian De
written by
Palma.
Oliver
Brian De
Stone.
Palma. Yeah. Okay.
Oliver Stone. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian De Palma is who I was thinking of. Yeah. I mean, Vice City from, Grand Theft Auto Vice City is basically centered this movie. It's hugely influential. I'd say just as much nowadays as like that's like if you wanted to say, because Godfather and Godfather 2 are classic films that were hugely influential, but they're like Scarface was on a different level. Like it was The Godfather on cocaine, and which makes sense.
Quite literally.
Held the record for the most F-bombs in a film, I believe, until I don't know, some movie maybe The Big Lebowski. South Park, yeah. Oh yeah, right. South Park.
Longer uncut. I don't know. I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
that's an educated guess.
Yeah, solid guess there. I have no idea. But do you have any scenes from Scarface that stick out to you guys? Maybe just one in particular.
I mean, I remember the scene where he's at like the cocaine, like Colombian dealer's house, like mansion, right? And he brought his buddy, and they hand him the bowl with like the lemon in it, and it's supposed to be like for washing your hands, like keeping your hands clean,
Yeah.
But he actually just eats the lemon, and it just shows that he's of some other culture, not from like a higher, you know what I mean?
Not an upper class type thing.
Exactly, upper class kind of thing. But that scene stood out to me also because it's gruesome, but it was always funny to me when his friend was hanging from the helicopter, and he'd be like, he'd say, I don't like him. He's like, I don't like that guy. I never liked that guy. Like just instantly flips. It's so funny.
I never liked that guy.
I never liked him.
Young Michelle Pfeiffer. Very good stuff.
Yeah.
John, do you have any scenes from Scarface that you like?
I mean, the ending scene with the big old gunfight, obviously. If I remember right, there's a scene where he's just sitting on his desk and there's like a mountain of coke in front of him.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
He just buries his face into it.
Yep.
I can't remember. Obviously, it's not cocaine that they were using, but I believe he got addicted to the fake stuff. Like that's how much he did in the movie, and he just ended up getting addicted to that. So yeah. The scene that really, when I first watched it, that was like, oh my God, I'm in for a different movie, a movie that I've like a level of violence that I wasn't used to. Was one of the beginning scenes.
Oh yeah,
they're doing the drug deal, and his friend is occupied with the
chainsaw
chick in a bikini, and he just chainsaws this guy right in the bathtub, and he's got him, and I'm like, oh my God,
yeah,
and I'm like, oh, and he just barely makes it out alive, and I'm just thinking like, son of a bitch, like that was so close, and it
hooks
tension.
You, man.
Yeah, right there.
That tension hooks you so hard in that movie.
Yep.
From that scene.
Yep. From that scene on, I was done. I was sold. Yeah.
I think that is the scene that I'll never forget from that movie. That is definitely the scene.
Yeah. And last, I'll just mention the scene where he's at a dinner table. He's eating dinner with his sister and his right hand man, his friend, who becomes Don Iliano in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He's the main gangster down in Mexico. In that series, it's Tony Montana's friend. They're sitting at a dinner table, and he's off. Or wait, no, it's not his sister. It's Michelle Pfeiffer. And anyway, it's Michelle Pfeiffer and his friend. They just leave him, and everyone in the restaurant is kind of like freaking out because he's been screaming at him, and he's like, it's like, get a look at me. I'm the bad guy. He's like, you need me. You need people like me. You need to, and just like he's not making a terrible point here by saying this. Like it's like saying you can't just be good. You need someone to be bad, and I'll take that. I'll fill those shoes. I'll do that. So I always thought that was a good scene, great scene. All right, I'll move on now to a movie that I have never seen, but I've always wanted to see. A couple of these are in the next two. I'll just name them in a succession: Cujo and The Dead Zone, both Stephen King, 80s. Cujo, basically Beethoven on cocaine, or
The good
Rabid.
Beethoven movie.
Yeah, you're right.
The prequel.
Man.
Yeah.
Prequel.
Was
Wasn't
it a coming of age origin story for Beethoven?
Oh boy.
Just a dog captured. I've never read the book, but I've heard good things about this movie and the
Now
book.
I can't remember for whatever reason I can't remember. Was it because the dog ended up being rabid, or was it evilly possessed? I couldn't remember which one it was.
I think it was rabid.
I want to say it was rabid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rabid dog, but like I'm trying to remember if because they were like stuck in a car, right?
Right.
Now, did the car like have no gas or what? Like,
right, there was an issue
get
with
out
the car.
of there.
Right, yeah, there's an issue. They couldn't, the car was dead. It wasn't starting,
So they were just stuck there with like a hungry rabid dog,
right?
And it's this woman and her son, basically.
Yeah,
it's like the same reason why your cell phones don't work in movies.
Right. It's like Jaws essentially, but just on land and with a dog.
Yeah,
you're stuck on a raft in a little boat in this car, in this sense, and you can't leave because this dog is going to kill you. Terrifying stuff. The Dead Zone. It stars Christopher Walken. I've heard nothing but good things, but again, I've never seen it personally.
I haven't either.
It's a personal film selection. If I can't watch it, someone should. The Dead Zone. This next one I'm going to mention here is an all-time Christmas classic. It's not so bad for me anymore because I don't have like TV necessarily in that sense, where like just standard TV or like TBS or whatever it is, where this movie plays for 24 hours straight. A Christmas Story. Christmas Story for 1983.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have
Ralphie?
a favorite scene from the Christmas Story film, John? I think I'm going to refer to you now because this is your year.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my God, there are so many scenes in that.
Okay. Go ahead.
There's a classic leg lamp scene. There's the him saying fudge, but it really wasn't fudge. Tongue getting stuck, the part where was I don't remember, it was Ralphie. He goes just ape shit on that bully kid and beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
His little brother saying, I can't put my arms down, and he's got just so many scenes. Classic movie.
Nick, sorry, go on. If you have more to add. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Nick. If you have anything you wanted to add, a scene that stuck out to you, a favorite.
Yeah, when he goes to see Santa Claus.
Oh yeah.
And push him down. Ho,
ho, ho.
That's my favorite scene in the entire movie. Where he just like,
best scene.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. And he goes and he pushes him down like the slide, and he stops himself. No, no, what I really want is this. And he's like, huh? You'll shoot your eye out. Oh, come on. Ho, ho. Goes him down. And there's also the ending scene, which is, again, doesn't age well. But it's the turkey's ruined, and they go to the Chinese restaurant, and these people are trying to sing like Deck the Halls.
Deck the Halls, yeah.
It's just and the broken English is played for laughs, and it's just it's so over the top that it's funny to me. But I guess someone could be offended by that. But it's 1983. There's worse things out there. I mean, choose your battles.
Right.
Leave that shit alone. All right. We'll move on to another movie I saw in high school. I thought it was pretty good. It's a true story. It's a movie called The Right Stuff, which of course made me think of New Kids on the Block. But it's a movie about it's a true story about astronauts trying to being the first ones to go into space. All Air Force pilots or whatnot, and they're flying these jets up into the sky, and they're trying to see how far they can take it out of our atmosphere. And someone pushes it, and finally he clears. He's gone higher than any plane has ever gone, and he actually clears out into space in just a jet. And everything falls into goes haywire because he's not in Earth's atmosphere anymore.
Yeah.
And shit falls. He ejects, but it's almost too late. Horrible burns. It's a whole thing. But eventually they end up taking John Glenn and Neil Armstrong, who are played by I can't remember his name.
Ed Harris,
yeah, and stuff. And so it's good stuff.
What is this again? What's this called?
The Right Stuff. This movie called The Right Stuff. It's a good one. I recommend it. Yeah, I watched it in what was it? I can't remember what class it was, but yeah, we watched it in high school. Another.
Wow, this got really great reviews.
Oh yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Another classic Stephen King film. This is his year. Christine. That's worth one watch around Halloween. A car that's possessed and kills people, and
Yeah.
the best part about all that, which you might be able to look the other way, is because it fixes itself. You know, you got a brake problem, no problem. It'll just heal itself. So no big deal. I've seen that movie once. No need to see it again, but it's okay to see at least once. All right, and these last two movies are near and dear to my heart. This first one I'm going to mention, I don't think either one of you has seen it, but I've seen it a handful of times. This movie is called Eddie and the Cruisers. Eddie and the Cruisers came out in 1983. The soundtrack from this movie was some of the first songs I ever played live. We learned a couple of them off this movie, off the soundtrack, and yeah, we played it. I'm trying to think of the names of them now. God, now it's been forever because that was like back
Run
in
Around Sue.
Well, that's we did play that one. That's a cover. But on the something Dark Side, on the Dark Side or something like that. Yeah, there's that.
Boardwalk Angel.
Boardwalk Angel. We played
on
that
the
one.
Dark Side.
Yeah.
Tender Years.
Tender Years. That's the one we played. Yeah, and we played Tender Years too. But yeah, it was it's basically like a Bruce Springsteen ripoff. It's by an actual band that did the songs. But it's like, obviously mimicked in the movie. It's about a young piano player who writes songs, but he can't sing. And he gets like close to this band, Eddie and the Cruisers, because they're looking for like a new sound or looking for something. It's classic tropes in that regard. And I remember the scene that stuck out to me is the piano player is playing, I believe it's Tender Years, or it could be On the Dark Side, one of the two songs, but he can't sing at all. And he's trying to play it, and he's doing the best he can, but everyone else in the band is laughing at him, except for Eddie. Eddie understands that there's something here. He's like, shut up, you bunch of monkeys, and he's like, listen, play the song. And so then Eddie starts singing it because he's a much, much, much better singer.
Well, naturally.
And then it all kind of pieces together, and then they hit it off. Then like there's like a whole mystery thing because like Eddie like disappears at the end. Then there's Eddie and the Cruisers 2 later, and this whole series just takes a whole trip to what the fuck's going on. But at least the original movie, it's not bad. It's pretty good, and the music's really good too. So Eddie and the Cruisers, worth one watch. And my last film for 1983, personal film selections, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this one. I hope you have. Is the movie The Evil Dead. The Evil Dead.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, Bruce Campbell. Okay, John, if you've seen The Evil Dead, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a favorite scene from that?
Just the whole boomstick thing, man. That's.
I thought that was.
Is that the second one?
Army of Darkness.
Oh, it is.
Well, yeah, he calls it the boomstick in the Army of Darkness. Yeah.
Oh, well, then I don't remember because now I'm thinking of the second movie instead of the first one.
I have seen Army of Darkness more than Evil Dead, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So there's a friend of mine when I was working at this friend of mine I used to work with. She was coming over, and because she was it Finding Nemo. She wanted me to watch Finding Nemo.
God.
And she's
Jesus
like, and I was like,
Christ.
Finding Nemo? And I was like, I've never seen that. You never seen Finding Nemo? I was like, no, I've never seen Finding Nemo. And then I was like, well, have you ever seen The Evil Dead? No, what's that? I was like, okay. If I have to watch Finding Nemo, you were going to watch The Evil Dead.
What a trade-off.
And she agreed.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Oh, God. And she came over, and we watched Finding Nemo. Yeah.
And I know the one scene that makes it really weird, too.
Yep, that was definitely pointed out. Because she's like, why are you making me watch a movie where Tree has its way with a girl?
Right.
Yeah, it was not... Thinking back, it maybe wasn't the best choice in that regard. But it was really funny at how bad it was, in the sense of like, it's not supposed to be bad, but they had very little to work with in terms of budget. But they did a hell of a job in production, and really with a limited amount of everything that they had, they did an amazing job. It's kind of freaky in some parts. It's really silly in others, even though it's not intended to be. The second one is identical to the first one, except instead of Ash and a bunch of friends. It's Ash and like his girlfriend, and that's it. But it's basically like a rehash of the Evil Dead. But that movie, just the first time I saw it, I was like, what is this? This is the craziest movie. And the second one is hilarious because he has to cut off his hand. And then he like starts like stabbing or something like that. And the hand's laughing at him. He's like, who's laughing now? And he's like stabbing the hand or hitting it or something like that. It just cracks me up. And then obviously Army of Darkness, where he gets his boomstick and goes back and forth. But yeah, did you have any scenes from the Evil Dead, Nick, that you liked in particular? Or have I mentioned them all?
I mean, that's pretty much all I've had to say about it. It's just that one scene that's really disturbing. But like I said earlier, I have definitely seen that one least. I've seen the Army of Darkness a lot more.
Yes. All right. Well, I will now move to the worst movies of 1983. The worst movies of 1983. To start it off here, we've got Superman 3, the one with Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Oh God, this one doesn't have Gene Hackman, so Lex Luthor doesn't reprise his role. So Superman's biggest nemesis isn't in it at all. I know at one point at the end of the movie, Superman fixes the Tower of Pisa. He makes it no longer leaning. He's stands it up, ruins their whole tourist attraction. Has a mental breakdown and breaks off into two Supermans. But the good one wins the day. It's a really goofy plot. It's really comedy and like almost slapstick. It didn't do well box office, and it was commercially and critically panned. I read into it in like plot and stuff like that, but I've never actually seen that movie. I just know it's really bad, and that's why I've never seen it, because it's really bad, and not like a good bad, just bad. I don't know if have you guys ever seen that movie? I can't imagine.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
All right. I can't imagine you guys have seen this one either. Another worst movie of 1983, Porky's 2, The Next Day.
Fucking hell, no.
Like the next day? That's all.
The next day.
All right. Yeah. Another worst movie of 1983, we've got DC Cab. This one was with Mr. T.
Oh boy.
Not
incredible.
I'm trying to remember the plot of that. There's not much there. It's basically like a bunch of running gags, not running gags, just a bunch of gags over like an hour and a half. DC Cab. We've also got Smokey and the Bandit 3, another third movie for one of the worst movies of 1983.
Jesus.
Now we're gonna work here into two movies here. I'm gonna mention the second worst movie of 1983, and then I'm gonna mention the absolute worst movie of 1983.
Gotcha.
All right. So number 2 here is Amityville 3D. Amityville 3D.
Amityville 3D.
Yeah. I've never seen that movie, but I've wanted to now because it's 3D. I like to watch 3D movies without 3D glasses to make it even worse.
Oh, I bet it's amazing.
It's just ridiculous. Why would you do that? Like, you have like a 3D version and then have like a separate version. No, they just have the one version. So unless you have 3D glasses just lying around, it doesn't make any sense. It looks really horrible. All right, and now the worst movie of 1983, hands down, Jaws 3D. Jaws 3D.
Oh God,
yeah, dude.
All right, John.
Oh God.
Take the reins. What do you got?
Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, they capture a shark, right? And they try and put it in like an enclosure, like SeaWorld. Like, oh God, I don't even know where to begin. Like, just the scenes for when it's like 3D boom in your face is so horrible. Like, it's like stop action. Like, there's just, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, there's a scene where it like busts through like a screen or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know how like even with like CGI movies, like when when something hits, it's continuous, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the shark hits the thing, it literally like stops dead in its tracks, and like the glass flies out.
Oh no!
It's so terrible.
It is. Oh no, so man! I gotta see this.
Oh,
have you never seen Jaws 3?
Terrible.
I've never seen it.
That
sounds amazing.
Absolutely,
it's the worst. Okay, that's amazing. That is like, an immediate movie. Oh, sorry. Go on, John. Sorry.
Like it's so bad. It's actually worse than the one after that. Jaws the
Oh,
Revenge. It's actually worse than Jaws the Revenge. Barely, but actually worse.
yeah, it's not good at all. The plot is also stupid, just like Jaws the Revenge. I know Jaws the Revenge, which we'll get to that. That's also in the 80s. I'm looking forward to that. We talk more about that when we get there, but the fact that the shark is like sentient or like not even that, it has it has a grudge against one family
grudge,
and it swims into, warm waters, which makes no sense. Anyway, Jaws 3D is obviously it's in 3D.
It's
set
terrible.
in where Martin Brody's son Michael has graduated college. I think he's a marine biologist, something along those lines. Where he's working in this marine life park, like a SeaWorld sort of deal. And they've got these two dolphins that they're working with, dolphins and whatnot. They end up catching this shark because I think it attacks somebody in the park. It eats somebody, and so you think it's Jaws like the whole time. And then they get the shark, and then you realize that it's not a full-size shark. It's this almost mid, like a kid. And then you realize, well, where's the mom? And then you see the mom, and she's fucking huge. And there's that scene where the woman who's with Dennis Quaid, cousin Eddie's, brother, Randy Quaid. But Dennis Quaid, his girlfriend, Dennis Quaid, who plays Michael Brody. But they go to the owner of the park, and I remember his girlfriend was like, "The shark is in the park. The mom is in the park. Shark." And I was like, "What?" And then you see the shark, and it looks like a loaf of bread. It's just like this.
It's very
this,
bad.
It literally it doesn't move anymore. It's just like a still picture moving. The scene in which John is referring to is at the end of the movie. They're in this control room. Their plan for the shark doesn't work. And they look over and they see the shark just heading towards them. And then all of a sudden, everything slows down. Everything's into slow motion. You're not even kidding you. The shark hits the glass. The screen freezes. It's just a picture of the shark. There's these glass shards that come flying at you. And all of a sudden, the next scene you see is this water filling up the control area that they're in. The shark eats one person, the black guy in the room.
You have to in 1983,
And the next scene after that, you see the shark inside, like you see like outside view, like you're under the water as well, and you're looking at the shark doing this, and it's the shark heading into the control room, backing up and doing it again, just backing up and over again, like thrusting. It doesn't do that. Sharks can't swim backwards at all. But whatever. So the shark's just like going back and forth like that. And then one of the divers that was dead but stuck in the shark's mouth had a grenade in his hand. And she pulls the grenade, and the shark blows up underwater. And I shit you not.
And she's fine.
She's fine. I shit you not. A giant blood, quote unquote, blood bubble, or like this, whatever it is, looks like, I don't know, flies from the shark's head. And I'm not shitting you. 2 jaws, like jaws, fly at the screen. Jaws is dead.
What?
Yeah, Jaws 3D, the worst movie of 1983. Right, guys.
Damn.
We will now move into the music section of the podcast with the music of 1983. And for albums that went number 1 in 1983, we're going to start with, obviously, Quiet Riot's Metal Health. The Flash Dance official soundtrack went number 1 in 1983. Lionel Richie's Can't Slow Down went number 1 in 1983. The Police Synchronicity went number 1. Men at Work, Business as Usual, went number 1 in 1983. And really the only album that mattered in 1983. Michael Jackson's Thriller was number one in 1983, and it went number one for like 39 weeks, not non-consecutive weeks, which is like pretty much the entire year. So like Michael Jackson's Thriller was number one from like February to June, and then for like a week or two it was like The Police, and then it was Michael Jackson's Thriller for another month and a half. I mean, that's just how it was. It was crazy. But my personal album picks of well, I mean, we could talk about Thriller for a second. I mean, of all those albums, what do you think? If you had to choose the best song off of Thriller, what do you think the best song is from Thriller?
Thriller.
Thriller? You like Thriller? That's a good one. Especially the music video too. The Halloween classic, still played today. I mean, it's like a 15-minute video. It's something ridiculous. It's basically a mini movie.
It is, yeah.
And I believe it's directed by Landis, the guy who let those two children die in that Twilight Zone movie. Oh fuck yeah. Can't remember his name though. But his last name is Landis. Yeah, Michael Jackson's Thriller. I'd say, you know, obviously Billie Jean. Billie Jean's, I mean, probably the staple.
I like Beat It, but I like Eat It better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird Al. Yeah. That's just a classic album. One of the greatest of all time. All right. We'll now move on to my personal album picks of 1983. I didn't realize this came out in 1983. I feel like kind of an idiot, like a fake fan, but Violent Femmes debut on Violent Femmes.
Oh, their debut, yeah.
With Blister in the Sun.
Right.
That's from 83?
Yeah, I thought that was the 90s.
No shit.
Yeah, I thought that was a 90s song.
Yeah, totally. Same.
It sounds, that's a decade
it
ahead.
Sounds
like
like
a
a
90s
90s song.
It's so ahead of itself. It's crazy.
Yeah, very good. Literally, I mean, that could be played today, Violent Femmes.
Sure.
That's a classic album, so definitely check that one out. Violent Femmes, their debut album. Obviously, Metallica's Kill Em All, minus, what's his name, Dave Mustaine. Yeah, Kill Em All. Yeah. Got some good tracks on that one. Not their best one, but a solid start. ZZ Top's Eliminator. I chose that. It's got a number of songs. I was like, oh, I like that song. It's not bad. ZZ Top isn't like a band I mention that often, but they have a few good songs. I really respect their musicianship. Billy Gibb.
I agree.
The guitar playing. I mean, when Jimi Hendrix says you're his favorite guitar player, you've got something going. So
you got something for you, yeah.
Another top album that I've got, another personal pick of mine, David Bowie's Let's Dance. This was a huge album for David Bowie. I think it sold like 11 million copies. However, it basically like put him in a corner that he had to like adhere to this style of music because it was a change from what he was used to. If you look at Let's Dance and then, I don't know, Space Oddity or something like that, or what's that song called? Fuck. Yeah, it's like a
yeah.
What's that called? Brad's gonna kill me. Streets with the clearest view. Anyway, it like you, and it goes from that music to
Life on Mars.
Life on Mars. When it goes from Life on Mars to Let's Dance, it's much Let's Dance. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. And then you got Stevie Ray Vaughan on guitar. Fantastic. Oh, it's so good. That's a classic album, but unfortunately it made David Bowie have to make all these, you know, later he's dancing in the street with Mick Jagger, and if you've seen that music video, it's kind of weird.
It is
a personal album pick of mine. We got Weird Al Yankovic, his very debut album with another one, Rides the Bus. This one is
classic. Yeah.
My Bologna.
Nice.
This one is a predominantly accordion album. This is like him showing off his accordion skills. It's really quite something. Weird Al Yankovic, fantastic. Just really good stuff. And my last personal album pick, Stevie Ray Vaughan in Double Trouble, Texas Blood, had Pride and Joy on it. Pride and Joy came out in 1983. That was a hugely influential album. Some of the best blues music of all time. One of the greatest guitar players of all time, let alone one of the greatest blues guitar players of all time. Stevie Ray Vaughan, though, I don't think he would make it through the 80s. He'd get sober, but again, another one of these rock stars or whatever it is, musicians, whatever, or actors that just die in plane crashes. It's just how it is. It's just really weird. It kind of reminds me of George Costanza when he sees Keith Hernandez and he's talking. He's a baseball player, and he's like, "You think like a whole team would just get wiped out at some point? Aren't you ever considered?" Jerry looks at him. He's like crazy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to worst albums of 1983. I've got to put it on here because continue on with my trashing of him for the entire decade. John Cougar Mellencamp's It's got that song Crumbling Down. Where it's like, when the walls come crumbling down, when the walls.
Oh, dude, thankfully I haven't heard that
fucking
shit.
Terrible. Oh, I hate that
God.
song. Hate that guy. Hate that artist. Not personally. Just don't like the music at all.
Right.
Can't stand it. Can't stand it.
Cougar Mellencamp.
Get that cougar. I've got another worst album, 1983, Kiss's Lick It Up. It is the album that they did without face paint.
Jesus.
So they debuted it, I think it was on MTV. It was like the room was dark. They hit the lights and all of a sudden there they are. And everyone's like, oh, God, put the makeup back on. Jesus. Yeah, that's no good. I've got, this one might catch me some flack, but whatever. One of the worst albums of 1983, Huey Lewis and the News, Sports. That's right. Sports. That's the one. I don't think there's a single song on that besides like I Want to Buy a New Drug, which is basically like it came in, was it Ghostbusters?
Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they sound exactly the same.
Yeah,
but I don't like
it's a rip.
Yeah, it's a rip. Yep. So I just don't care about. I'd rather hear Ghostbusters than I Need a New Drug. Don't really like Huey Lewis and the News. Well, I don't know about the News. Maybe it's just Huey Lewis.
Right, maybe it's Huey Lewis. Yeah.
Okay with the News. Another one. Got Bryan Adams, Cuts Like a Knife. Don't know a single song off that album, but the fact that this is him, I don't like Bryan Adams. He's in the same vein as John Cougar Mellencamp, or John Mellencamp. So Bryan Adams, Cuts Like a Knife, another worst album of 1983. Another one, we've got Styx. Kilroy Was Here. This is a concept album that has the Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto song.
Oh.
And then
luckily that didn't take off.
Yes, no, that crashed and burned. That's what happened. AC/DC's last one is AC/DC's Flick of the Switch, one of the worst critically panned albums. It's bad. AC/DC. I don't know how many more albums they'd make before they stopped and came out with the one in like early 90s that has like Thunderstruck and whatnot on it. But yeah, that'll do it for my worst albums of 1983. There's an album I ran across. It's Daniel Johnston's. This album is not finished or something like that. It's outsider music is what it's called. It's in the same vein as the Wesley Willis or the Skaggs. And I think the name is the Skaggs or something like that. Maybe Skuggs or something. The Skuggs. It's this. Anyway, there's this group in the 60s or early 70s that the father was hearing that these people were playing music on the radio, and maybe it was like a family, like the mamas and the papas or something like that. I don't know. He decided, well, maybe I can get my own kids to play music and then record an album for them, and then we'll make it big. They'll make lots of money. The problem is that kids have never played an instrument in their life. And so he just puts one on drums, one on bass, one on guitar, and 3 people who can't sing and can't play, they don't even know what's going on, recorded an album. And it sounds like you think it would. But it's become hugely influential. Everyone, they'll reference that album.
What is this album called?
I think it's called the Skuggs, or the Skaggs is the name of the group. It's outsider music. Let's try and see if I can look it up real quick. But it's just, if you just put outsider music in, let's see if I can find something here. I think let's try the Skaggs.
Yeah, the Shags.
The Shags, that's it, the Shags.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, okay.
1965.
Okay, yeah, so 1965. Yep. They can't play, they can't sing, they don't know what's going on, but they record an album, and it's hugely influential for people who are musically trained, and they've actually spent some time with music. To hear this put together sounds like aliens. It's just really, really weird. And so it still constitutes as music, but it isn't good in the conventional sense.
I gotta listen. I gotta hear this.
And then Daniel Johnston. Let's see if I can put that in. Yeah, it's like what's the name of that album? He's a cult legend. I can't think of the name of the album, but yeah, it's really bizarre. I guess I've heard like stories that he'd have to.
Dude, I think it's just avant-garde, man. You just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's interesting.
Exactly.
It's just art rock. It's art music. It's not actual music in the conventional sense of hearing music. It is music because it is an instrument.
Yeah.
But in no way, shape, or form
here's the thing though, like if you have to cover the Shag's music, that's hard, dude. That's gonna be really tough.
Oh, absolutely.
I have to be offbeat.
No one could do it. Right.
No one could do it. It's fucking impossible.
It's just like, yeah. It's almost like, should I have just avoided picking up the guitar for 20 years and playing it? If that's all that matters, is that
right.
If I just pick it up and just hammer away and play it and then record it, will it do well? Apparently not playing and knowing is sometimes better than knowing. It's interesting. And all right. We will now move into top songs of 1983. One of the top songs of 1983, The Police, Every Breath You Take.
The Stalker song.
Yep. Woo. Every breath you take. It's the creepiest song. It Stalker 101. I mean, that's pretty much, that's nothing more you can say about that. Another top song of 1983. 1983 in terms of music was pretty good. It was pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised and impressed. Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. I talked about that one. Another top song of 1983. Irene Cara, Flashdance, What a Feeling, which is that, I believe that was also in Scarface, that song. But if you play that, you'll know that it's like what a feeling.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. So we'll move on. We got Men at Work, Down Under. Down under. That one. We got this is a fucking classic. Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Turn around every now and then. I'll get a little. Yeah. There's the old school. I love the version of that. Yeah. My boy Blue. Yeah. Oh god, it's such a good song. It was written by the same guy, if you can believe it. That helped write songs for Meatloaf. Celine Dion. It's got a bunch of it's that over the top, very epic sounding, I guess you could say. It's a very similar style musically. He's definitely got a style. But yeah, Total Eclipse of the Heart. That song is still beloved today and still sung and played a lot of times in karaoke and bars all over. Another top song of 1983. We've got Hall & Oates' Man Eater. Oh, there she goes. He's a man. Yep. She'll fill you up. Oh God.
These are classics, man.
Yeah, these are all good. We got Michael Sembello with Maniac. She's a maniac.
Yeah.
That's another Flashdance album off the soundtrack, so you can see how it won. It was number one for a little bit. And we got Eurythmics. Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, which most people will say like these.
Yeah.
I used to say that too. Not as good as the Marilyn Manson cover. But no, I feel like it more. But, yeah.
Wow.
I have to interject. Every time you talk about Flashdance, the only thing that comes through my mind is like the scene from Gremlins, where it's got the things on its feet. It's doing the dance to the song.
You know what I just? You know what I watched a couple nights ago? Gremlins 2. Gremlins 2. Fucking,
oh man,
the new batch.
Yeah.
That's good shit, dude.
The what is it? The tongue-in-cheek stuff you don't catch when you're younger, but when I'm older, I was like, that's so funny. When he goes to the TV and he puts to the tape and he's like, I never thought we'd have to play this, and it's like, so the end of civilization is happening.
Yeah.
It's so good. That guy's a nut job. I love it. Another top song of 1983. We've got Culture Club's "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?" That's a good one. Boy George, all that. I'm sure you know that song. one of my favorites here.
Yeah.
We've got Dexy's Midnight Runners. Come on, Aline.
Oh,
Love
that
that
was sticking in
song.
your head for
That's
days.
a classic one. Classic. One hit wonder, but they got it for all it's worth.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, the overalls didn't really pick up till sometime in the mid '90s, but at least for the music video, they all wore overalls. Yeah, but I mean, I've heard that song 1,000 times. And I still like it. It's classic. I like the build up, that little where it slows down. To-ra, to-ra, to-lu-ra.
Yeah.
It really starts building up. That's so good. I love that part. Another one we got. Oh, God. Donna Summer. She works hard for the money. She works hard for the money. Yeah. So you better treat her right. Yeah, that's a good one. I think.
Classic.
Classic.
Greatest song ever written.
We got another top song, Duran Duran, Hungry Like a Wolf.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Top song, another one, David Bowie, Let's Dance. Just covered that not too long ago.
Yeah.
Fantastic. This one's good. I like this one. Eddie Grant, Electric Avenue. That's another top song in 1983.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna go down to Electric
Apparently, that was number
Avenue.
1 on Rolling Stone for that year.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Electric Avenue.
That's a good one. That is violence. This is a all-time classic. This one has only gained in popularity in the last 10 years, maybe 5, 7 years. Toto's Africa. Toto Africa, another top song of 1983. I remember hearing that song and people thinking like this is kind of corny, and then I guess for some reason it just caught on, and it's one of those songs you can't help but sing.
There's a metal version of that song by the Leo something or other.
Really?
He does the Frog Leap Studios. Fantastic. You have to watch it. I'll link it to you after this.
Okay, yeah. I think was it Weezer did a cover of it. I've tried to karaoke the song. It's quite difficult to sing. Very difficult to sing.
We did this song in choir in high school.
Yeah. That little music.
I can only imagine how bad it was compared to how good we thought it was.
Right. Did you guys think it was really good?
I mean, it was okay, I guess.
Was Baller there?
Yeah, Baller was there.
Baller
and I were both singing Africa by Toto on stage. Yes.
I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas. This is fantastic.
Yeah, we did that too.
This is a whole pile of shit. Oh, that's good. All right, not Toto Africa, obviously. I won't equate that to that song. But Toto Africa, good stuff. I do like Rosanna better, but still, Toto Africa, you can't go wrong. Another top song of 1983, Prince's 1999.
Classic.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good one. There's a Dave Chappelle. It's one of his stand-up specials. He starts off the whole thing like just slowly, just reading off the lyrics to the beginning of the chorus or one of the verses, and I think it's the verse in this song. He had a point to it all. I can't remember what it was, but it makes it sound more poignant than maybe it was intended, or maybe it is. It's Prince. Who knows? But very good song. Very off his last album that came out in 1982, I believe. So yeah, good stuff. I put in another top song of 1983, Styx, Mr. Roboto. Domo Origato, Mr. Roboto. Oh yeah. Secret, I got a secret. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Oh,
yeah, it's good. Yeah, just what's it about? That's I always
it's
wondered.
About Kilroy, and that's all I know. It's a concept album. There's apparently a whole story that's told through the songs.
Right.
If anybody wants to suffer through that, be my guest. Another one. This is a classic song of 1983. The song, from the band Men Without Hats, Safety Dance.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
There's two versions of that song. One has the boop, 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 and the other one doesn't.
No, yeah. It's got. I like the longer version. It's like the S S S S A A A A F F F F T T T Y dance.
It's the one where you go around town blaring at everyone gives you a dirty look.
I think the first time I ever heard this song was when after Nick and you had to come back from 4-H camp.
Yeah.
And I think
Bar and I would blare it in the car and drive around. I think it looks at me.
Yeah.
Good memories, dude.
I had never heard this song before in my life. And then all of a sudden I just hear this.
He's like, hey, John, check out this banger. And he puts it I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
It's just ear piercing.
we had it turned up too. Like,
it
was cranked.
Yeah, God. I was a fan. I was a fan by the time I got home. Absolutely. One time we had like these little cards you could write out at my work, like, thanks for being safe, when you fill out a safety card, thanks for this, you fill out a different card. But for the safety cards, I wrote out the lyrics to the safety dance and put them up there. And the head of safety was not happy with that. Apparently she didn't care for the safety dance. So, you can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. Because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then they're no friends. What does that have to do with? No, keep it going. But yeah. Classic song, Men Without Hats, Safety Dance. Good stuff. All right. Got two more here. We got Naked Eyes, Always Something There to Remind Me. Classic song from 1983.
Yeah.
Yep. And the last one we've got, this one's for Sly. Journey's Faithfully, which is Sly likes to play that on the piano. And then I'd sing it. It's like, how we're on into the midnight song. Yeah. We'll go round and round. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's a great dramatic song, dude. It's awesome.
There's a song on this list I think you missed I'd like to share.
Go ahead.
I'm sure it's not on the bad list.
Are you sure? Go ahead.
I'm Still Standing by Elton John.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's a good one. There's, I think I got to 20. Those are 20 songs for 19.
Dude, there's so many. I scrolled through the list.
Yeah, there's a lot. So, yeah. I'm Still Standing, definitely by Elton John. Also, I guess that's why they call it the blues. Both those songs came off the same album. So that's another good.
Those are so good, man.
Yeah, classic Elton John songs. Yeah, I think that'll do it for songs of 1983. Top songs. You can get to worst songs. Now, some of these, I don't know. This one, it's not good. I know it's not good. It's more of a, I don't know, a niche type. I don't know. Taco, Putting on the Ritz. One of the worst songs of 1983. If you're blue and you don't know. Yeah. Dressed up like $1 million trooper.
Super duper.
Yeah, it's so weird. So fucking weird. The music video was creepy. The makeup on that, I don't know why is his name Taco? Don't know what the hell's going on. It's a cover of like a song from 1920. Like Fred Astaire, I guess. I don't know. It's really fucking weird. But still, I'll play it like once just to freak people out and then never play it again. I'm good. One time a year. Putting on the Ritz.
Yeah,
another worst.
That's God puts on the Ritz, but not when he's rolling up his sleeve.
Oh my God. When he rolls up, yeah, he is putting on the Ritz. He's not just putting on the Ritz.
Well, he's not. Well, yeah, he's when he rolls up his sleeves, he's not just putting on the Ritz.
Right.
He's also
Yeah. Oh, God is an
awesome
God.
So he's just continuously putting the Ritz on. Okay, well, we can move on.
Perpetual Ritz from this motherfucker. There's thunder in his footsteps and lightning in his fists, so don't forget that.
That's true.
That's necessary.
Not sure.
I like that next line. Yeah. And the Lord, it wasn't joking when he kicked him out of Eden. Like that's the next line. He wasn't joking. Doesn't get fucking stupid. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Worst song of 1983. Another one. We've got Tony Basil's Mickey.
Oh God.
Ugh. Yo, Mickey is up on the Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Yeah, it's so earworm, and it was written by. This is not to say anything of the talent of this lady, because she choreographed the entire thing. She recorded, she produced, she directed, she did everything for this song. So my hat's off to her. Having said that, it's one of the most annoying songs I've ever heard in my life. It just made me want to dark thoughts enter my head, and I just like it. Cheerleaders from here till eternity will be constantly playing this song, and I just don't care. I don't like it. It's not a good song.
Right. I mean, that's basically what it is. It's like it's literally a cheer that's a song.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
With a little bit during the verse it's a bit different, but still that main part there, and even the breakdowns, even the way she dresses in a cheerleader outfit for the music video. Yep. All right, we got another one. This song's really funny because it was so random. It was so random. One of the card attendants from where I used to work at one day came up to me and asked me if I remembered the band, which is one of the worst songs of 1983, Kaja Gugu's Too Shy. It's like, Chris, do you remember Kaja Gugu, Too Shy? And I was like, Too Shy? And it's like, oh yeah, I remember that song. Hush, hush, do I? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Too shy, hush, hush, do I? Yeah, that's it.
Kaja, what is that?
Yeah, he asked if I remembered that band. Kaja Gugu. That's the name of the band.
I'm gonna be honest.
Never heard of it.
That's the first time I've heard of them.
Yeah.
You mentioned it right now.
I know the song, but I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, so that's
what a cheesy song that is.
It was the most random shit I'd ever heard in my life because he was just so. Remember the band Kaja Gugu? No, I don't remember the band Kaja Gugu. Obviously, yes, I do, but I don't want to talk about it. Kaja, Kaja, Gugu. I wonder if the Goo Goo Dolls took their name from that.
Jesus!
You know what?
They look like they look like a Final Fantasy 14 characters.
I know the next name of my next character is gonna be named Kaja Gugu. Yeah,
there you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
All right, we got three more songs here for the worst songs of 1983. Which one will I choose, or will I just combine them all for one track here at the end? We've got Laura Branigan's Gloria, which is a I don't even know what the song's about, but it's a Gloria, Gloria. Da, 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 it's just over and over again. It's another earworm. I remember the music video, looking at it and being like, "This is some cheap." I mean, even for '83, it's cheap. Like they just like found like a warehouse. They stuck her in a corner. So someone got a disco ball and they put up a disco ball and that was it. Maybe put up another one, put up a fan here, and all right, we're good here. Blow some smoke. Just Gloria. It's a really bad song in the same vein as Mickey, Earworm and stuff like that. All right, now we've got two, and I'm picking on the youth here, the younger kids of 1983, but musical youths. Pass the Dutchie. Pass the Dutchie on the left hand side. Pass the Dutchie, which apparently is not drug reference. That's not what they're talking about. That's what apparently the one of the people in musical youth did. Pass the Dutchie. And I don't know.
What are they referring to then?
I don't remember. I think it's something to do with cooking, like pass a pan. But where they're
Dutch
from,
oven?
Yeah, maybe pass the Dutch oven.
Why does everyone have oven mitts on? I hope they do.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
I mean,
but I
maybe
think
that's
it's like
the
a
point.
cooking
The
song.
person on the right hand doesn't have mitts on.
On the left hand side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pass the Dutchie on the left hand side. Yeah. All right. And my last song, maybe the worst song of 1983. Maybe. It's a strong contender, I think. And that song is New Edition's Candy Girl. Come at me. Go ahead.
Candy Girl.
So ear-piercingly annoying. This kid's voice is like only dogs, and maybe you can hear it. It's shattering glasses, Memorex, the whole thing.
Okay.
It's that.
I'll have to listen to this.
You are my world.
Oh,
it's
that
basically
fucking song.
It's ABC.
It is that song.
It's fucking Jackson 5's ABC, but just rehashed. It's New Edition's Candy Girl. It's so terrible.
It's awful.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. It is horrific.
Fucking 1983, man.
Good Lord.
Candy Girl, you are my world.
Jesus Christ. They need to stand, dude. They need to go to trial for their fucking crimes against humanity for doing that goddamn song.
So, know what album we're getting Nick for his birthday. All right. Okay. Well, that will do it for the music section of the podcast. For the year in review. We will now move into TV shows of 1983.
Space, the final frontier.
In the sky. Nothing's gonna stand in my way as long as we got each other. Thank you for being a part. Yo, Joe! Every time. Believe it or not, it's just heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
And the TV shows that debuted in the year 1983, we've got The A-Team. Hey, the A-Team. That debuted in 1983.
We have BA here with us.
We got a BA Baracus. We do. I don't know who the other guy was. Do you know, John? The A-Team? Yeah, BA Baracus.
There was Murdoch.
You could be making this up. I have no idea.
Right.
But I believe someone named Murdoch could possibly be at that show.
Yeah.
It's definitely a Murdoch. I don't know. I just know that, they basically solve crimes or fought crime for 22 minutes, every week.
Yeah,
that's pretty much
it was
run of the mill.
There's Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Hannibal was and Face Man.
Huh.
Like Dr.
Hannibal, B.A. Baracus, Murdoch, and
that's his name, Hannibal. Oh, okay.
It is John Hannibal Smith, Howling Mad Murdoch, Templeton Faceman Peck.
Damn, I thought you were referring to, Hannibal Lecter. But,
That's what I was saying.
Well,
Lecter?
You get hungry.
Actually, there is some movie that actually is a character named Hannibal Lecter. It's in the 80s. It is the same character. Kind of like Jack Ryan is for, that guy who writes all those books about Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
But it's played by somebody else. Hannibal Lecter is played by somebody else in the 80s. All right. Another TV show that debuted in 1983, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. He-Man.
Hell yeah.
Wait.
By the power of Grayskull.
Was it a live action or the
cartoon?
The animated?
Cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah. It's animated. Yeah.
I know. Didn't they make a live action movie?
They did with Dolph Lundgren. I've seen
it.
That's later in the 80s. We'll get there.
I didn't know they did that. That's
we'll get there.
Really good, dude.
I watched that with Dave Hill and some other people in Purdue. We were down in they have a week-long party. I can't remember. I think it's called Grand Prix, if I remember right. Grand Prix. And after one of the nights, we woke up in the morning and got breakfast and came back and we're like, what movie are you going to watch? And Dave was like, He-Man, Masters of the Universe. And it's like, oh, okay. It's something else. All right, we got another TV show that debuted in 1983, Inspector Gadget. That's a classic.
Nice.
It's basically it's a ripoff, or not ripoff. It's a play, or kind of a play ripoff of an old detective show from the 60s. Get Smart. I don't know. Maybe Get Smart.
Okay.
But I don't know. But even the main bad guy is a play. The Claw.
So is Inspector Gadget? He's just a human being with gadgets, right? That's literally it. He's not like a cyborg.
I think he's like RoboCop with a cheerier disposition.
Right.
No, I don't know.
Like a rated G RoboCop.
I don't know, actually.
Stop, citizen.
Right. Or I'll use my propeller out of my, hat.
Right.
And he flies away. It's like the Batman's utility belt. He's got everything you could ever imagine that he would need.
Right.
And Inspector Gadget can do all that. He's got roller skates for his shoes.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
Heelys before they were a thing.
Yeah.
His arms extend as long as he wants.
Penny solved everything, though.
Penny did everything. She did. Yep. Inspector Gadget was just an aloof. All this gadgetry.
He was the guinea pig for all of it.
Right. I think they should have worked.
And she was probably making money off of the.
Yeah. Let's hope.
The dog was smarter.
Yeah. What was the dog? Brain. Was that the name of the dog? Brain. I remember the name. If I pull that out of my ass, I'll be shocked. If that dog's name was Brain, I'll laugh. Because
could be Brian and they just spelled it wrong.
Maybe. I was just saying maybe that's where Gadget's brain went, to the dog.
Probably.
He doesn't have one. Yeah. Another show that debuted in 1983, Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. 1983.
Fucking Pat Sajak. Jesus Christ.
I don't know if he was hosting right away. I think
Was
it was.
he?
I think it was a different host. He quickly became the host, but I think straight off the bat it was somebody else, and it didn't really go over well with audiences. And then he took over. I believe so. I could be wrong, but Vanna White was there from the beginning. Another show that debuted in 1983, Fraggle Rock, fantastic theme song. I don't know, it's a classic. You know.
Yeah.
Worries for another day. Down at Fraggle Rock. Yep. All this good
I
stuff.
don't know. I don't know it.
Classic. Jim Henson.
Yep. I mean, they had some reruns in like the late 80s because that show only lasted for like 4 or 5 seasons. But
it was on HBO, dude.
Yeah.
That's
right.
HBO.
Right.
Watch it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So
why? Show on HBO. I mean, it was early HBO. You tell me.
Well, yeah. Jim Henson had contracts signed. You know, he had something.
So
he was limited to that. So like he has to, whatever Jim Henson creates, HBO will air it.
Right.
So it's the turn of cable news and cable networks. So
sure. Yeah. It was a different channel then.
It's a different time.
Yeah, the world has changed since then.
A little bit.
The world has moved on since then.
Another TV show that debuted 1983, Webster, the Manuel Lewis, the another one of those poor black kids being adopted by the rich white family. And they teach them the ways of life and all that stuff. They'll take care of them. Different strokes, the same sort of deal. It's the same thing. Punky Brewster. I know she's not black. It's another orphan kid being taken in by the 80s. Love their orphans. They absolutely love the orphans, and families taking care of them. And one of the things I want to point out here real quick, I may have mentioned it before, so I won't delve too much into it. But in the 80s television, since there was only like a certain amount of channels, and not a lot of people had HBO and all those cable channels. They determined the best way of getting like messages out to kids or parents or families about things socially that were going on in America at the time, whether it was the AIDS epidemic or just like after school special sort of thing, like don't drink and drive, be careful of strangers and stuff like that. They would make entire shows, episodes based off that, and that's how the American public learned about things. Was television. It's insane.
Right.
But yeah.
Was it the different strokes that had like that? Was that Gary Coleman?
Yeah, Gary Coleman.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's that one episode where it was like that weird creeper guy.
Bicycle Man is what the episode's called.
Yeah, Bicycle Man. Yeah.
It's a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just. But what that show did is it let kids know what to look for. It actually it helped out, but that's how they did it.
That's how they got the news.
That's how they got that's so.
I mean, you got to do it one way or the other. But if that's where your society's at, that's where it's at, man. I guess.
Right. They won't read these pamphlets or listen to these talks, but if we put them in front of a TV and say Gary Coleman, go almost get molested, we're good.
What you talking about?
What you talking about, Willis? Just saying that over. What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis? It's terrible. Find a happy place. All right. Oh, it's terrible.
That's
all right,
horrific.
All right, we'll move on. Another show that debuted in 1983, Reading Rainbow. Love this fucking show. Hell yeah. LeVar Burton. Butterfly in the sky. No, take a look. It's in the book. Reading Rainbow.
It's in the book. I'm not sure I know that one.
It was an educational show for children.
Reading Rainbow?
Well,
I don't think so.
No, I think it was off the air by the time he was born.
It went on to 2006, bud.
Really?
I think it was Soviet Union when they collapsed. That's when Reading Rainbow
it was filmed in the Soviet Union. I
believe.
No, you're right. It did go. Yeah, I just don't remember. I mean, why would I watch it after a certain point? I don't need to.
Right? Yeah, dude. I'm a loyal fan, dude. I've been watching it since
every episode
2006, bro.
You're 42. Reading Rainbow,
right, yeah, dude. I haven't missed an episode. I got it all on Blu-ray. I have Reading Rainbow shirts, posters.
I do like Wishbone. I think at that point, the dog.
Oh, fucking hell.
I think I saw a video once where Wishbone was oh God, I think he was a slave. Like he was like
Serial killer?
it was a book from like, about slavery, and he was one of the slaves in the book. He was portraying that slave. So
I mean,
so
it adds up.
Wishbone's getting like he's getting whipped and stuff. Yeah, it's really yep.
What the fuck? That's ridiculous.
I mean, slavery's not funny. Someone's up, but this fact is Wishbone.
Yeah, right.
He's got that high pitched voice. Oh man, what's going? Get back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another show that debuted in 1983. We've got The Joy of Painting.
Hell yeah.
Bob Ross.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Good. That's a classic show. It's just relaxing. It's Valium for your eyes. Yeah. Good stuff. Another another show that debuted in 1983. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the animated Alvin and the Chipmunks. I used to watch that when I was a kid. And a show called another one, The Littles. That only was on for a couple years, but I remember it. It was kind of like Christian said it was a good movie in like the mid 90s, and we kind of made fun of it for a minute. But I can't remember what the hell that was called. The Borrowers, that was what it was called. The Borrowers. Basically, The Littles is like The Borrowers, but The Littles are animated, and The Borrowers weren't. Ending last TV show to debut in 1983, Star Search. You guys remember watching this show?
Yeah, Ed McMahon, right? Yeah.
Yep. A lot of people.
It's basically American Idol before there was an American Idol.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yep. They had stand-up comedy, they had singing, they had all this stuff. So it was like America's Got Talent.
Yeah, more like that. Yeah, you're right.
That included like if American Idol and America's Got Talent had a baby, it'd be Star Search. So yeah.
It was just reverse engineered.
Yeah, right. Like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, all those kids, they started on Star Search. Norm Macdonald was on Star Search. Joey from Full House was on Star Search, both on the show Full House, I think, as well as actually being on Star Search. Dave Coulier. Yeah.
Cut it out.
It was
Jesus Christ.
It was the show to be on, yeah, if you wanted to get into the entertainment business. Star Search. All right. I remember watching that show like on like Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings. Yeah. Like that. Yeah. All right. We'll now move on to the top 10 TV shows of 1983 in basic television. The number one show of 1983 was the show Dallas. Dallas was number one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Number two was 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes. Number three was Dynasty, which is just Dallas, but just in a different way. Number four was the A-Team. The A-Team was number four. Yep. Number five was Simon and Simon. I don't even know what the hell that is. Number six is Magnum PI. Love that show. Good stuff. Number seven was Falcon Crest. Number 8 was Kate and Allie. And number 9 was Hotel. And number 10 was Cagney and Lacey. I know maybe half these shows at best. I don't even know what the hell the rest of them are. Yeah, Falcon Crest was basically Dynasty in Dallas, but for like the other channel that caught on the trend way too late. All right. And it starred Pierce Brosnan from Mr. Doubtfire.
I've never seen any of that stuff, right? Like I've heard of Dallas, but only through that show Freaks and Geeks.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah,
that's the only time I heard of Dallas.
Oh,
it was that one character who's like, I can't. I'm watching Dallas tonight.
The kid who Weir, the main kid.
Yeah,
he directed the new, or he co-directed, or I think he did direct it, or maybe produce as well, the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, really?
So it's a very good movie.
Cool.
If you if you like Dungeons and Dragons, I highly recommend that movie. It's so much better, so much better than the 2001. It's not even in the same universe.
Right.
It's funny. It's got really good scenes, and it's actually Dungeons and Dragons stuff, like lore.
Sweet.
Baldur's Gate, it's mentioned a number of times. So, yep. All right. We'll now move to the worst TV shows to debut in 1983. I'm going to start from the bottom here. Webster again. Mention why that's no good. We've gone over that. They couldn't even fucking wait. They couldn't wait for MASH to be over before they already had a spinoff. And what would you guess what it was called? After MASH. That's what it was called. After
Seriously?
MASH. Yes.
After MASH.
Yes. One of the worst. Yeah.
Was the whole thing an acronym?
No, maybe. I don't think so.
Right, that's what it's called, right? The M.A.
Yeah, MASH is an acronym, but after I don't.
It'd be hilarious if
it was. Yeah.
If the whole thing was. Yeah, what does it all stand for now?
Oh God. The funny thing, you know that in MASH, there's always that famous story of the people who are big fans are going to kill me, but like the main actor in the show, I can't think of his name.
What is this? What is Brad gonna be mad?
Brad's dad might be mad. Which I apologize, Ken. But if the main actor in MASH, it does that famous scene where he's talking, he confesses to one of the people in the show about how he was on a bus and he wanted everyone to be quiet. Be quiet. Alan Alda. Yes.
Alda. Yeah.
Alda.
Yeah.
Alan Alda.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Bill, what's his name? I can't think of it. It's drawing a blank here. Bill from Saturday Night Live. He did Stefan. He helped write for South Park.
Bill Hader?
Bill Hader does an amazing impression of Alan Alda, or whatever his name is. Fantastic. It's verbatim. He sounds just like him. But anyway, that character from MASH is talking to someone about being quiet. He's telling her, I was telling her to be quiet. She had a chicken. Just make the chicken be quiet. Hold it, roosters quiet. We don't want to get attacked. And stuff. And MASH was set in Korea. But it was really more to do with Vietnam. A lot of stuff with Vietnam. It was a lot of, I'm sure those wars are very closely related in a lot of ways, but because it was in the 70s, it had a lot of Vietnam stuff kind of shoehorned in, I think. Or at least that's what I was told.
Well, Korea was before Vietnam. So.
I know.
Right.
Yeah. But, it's set in Korea, but since Vietnam was already going on and it was prevalent in the American psyche, they kind of, made things like, even though it was set, anyway, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But anyway, so it's like, get the chicken quiet, keep the chicken quiet, the rooster, whatever it is. And he's like yelling at this mom to do it. And he realizes that it's not a chicken, it's her baby. And she's trying to keep him quiet, that she smothers him and kills him. And that was in the last episode of MASH. So that gives you so MASH has like this funny stuff and serious. And it was this beautiful mixture. There's a reason it lasted as long as it did.
Actually a good show then.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Good show. I mean, 121.6 million people watch. I know there's only 4 channels, but I mean, Webster was on. They could have watched that and they didn't. Also, another worst TV show to debut in 1983, the new Leave It to Beaver. That's the title of the show. The new Leave It to Beaver, where Beaver, the Beav, has grown up. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that lasted like
he's a middle-aged man at a bar. Like, I used to be somebody.
I used to be clean cut. He's like addicted to like every drug.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. He looks like Scarface.
When did Cheers debut?
Last year, 1982.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And now the worst show to debut in 1983, Manimal. Here
it is again.
Here it is. Manimal is a show about a guy who can turn into animals and fight crime.
Of course it is.
That's it. That's the premise of the show. He just turns into other animals. The CG, the whole thing is garbage. It looks horrible.
What if he's stuck only being like a deer or something?
They don't get in deep. There's no too deep. It's just like Manimal turns into a panther. No, not Manimal. Yeah. God.
Is it as good as The Animal?
Oh,
or is
God.
it worse?
That's a good question.
Would you rather watch Manimal or The Animal? I would say Manimal. The Animal, probably because it's shorter than all of Manimal.
Oh, if I have to watch the entire series, then yeah, The Animal. If I have to watch
an episode,
same, let's say like this amount of episodes that would equal the entirety of The Animal.
Oh, I see.
I would
watch it even.
Yeah, I would watch Manimal.
Watch Manimal.
It had one season.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah.
8 grandiose episodes.
8.
8 episodes.
I mean, there's only 4 channels. I mean, how bad do you have to fucking suck that you're like, you know what? We can't even do this. Get the hell out of here. Manimal.
They need to bring it back.
Absolutely. Why don't they remake that? The hell?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that will do it for TV shows of 1983. Oh, yeah. All right. We will now move into the short but sweet video game section of the podcast now. for video games of 1983. All right. We don't have a lot. We only have 4. And they're all from the arcade. So they don't even really give me dates either. I looked. There was something. One of the arcade games that came out in 1983 was Donkey Kong 3. The third Donkey Kong came out. I don't think I ever played that one. If I did, I might have played it for the Atari at some point. Or maybe even on Nintendo eventually. But I don't remember too much about it. The very first Star Wars game ever came out in 1983 for the arcade. It did really well, and it was ported over to Atari later on. You're basically in like not a TIE fighter, but an X-Wing.
Yeah.
Like a flight simulator sort of deal.
Okay.
Another one.
Cutting edge 8-bit graphics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually pretty good for its time. And another arcade game, Cliffhanger, came out 1983.
I remember Cliffhanger,
yeah. And probably the best one, also for the arcade, Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair came out in 1980. And that one is a Don Bluth animated, which is Five Foot Goes West, American Tail, Land Before Time, all that stuff. Animated.
That cool.
Yeah. It's a funny and well played. It's on a PC. Also made its way to PC where it blew up as well. Actually really blew up. But it was originally an arcade game. Dragon's Lair. Very good stuff. And for worst video game of 1983, I chose for the PC a game called Math Blaster. That's what it's called. Math Blaster. And I shit you not. The reviews for this game are through the roof. It's fantastic. It's good for the kids. They're going to love it. And there's nothing bad to be said about any video game. The amount of hate that E.T. got in 1982 was all a decade after it happened. Like, it's just all video games were amazing in the 80s, even when they weren't. So this is another one. I feel
like I've played this in school.
You probably have. I mean, that's where it. Yeah.
This I played like a football game too. That was math related.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like on par with the Bible games. You're like Noah and you're kicking ass.
Oh, Jesus.
And you're like gathering animals 2 by 2 to put to your
It's like a survival game.
Yeah. You got to eat or God will smite you. Yeah. Or you're Abraham.
Dodge and burning bushes, you know.
Right. Casting demons out
Drop
of pigs.
And roll, man.
Right. Throwing them into the sea. I think one of the missions you have
See you
to
later,
play,
everyone. Yeah.
You have to play as Abraham, and you have to make sure you get to your son to gut him, you know, and then
oh, yeah.
Make sure blood is turned on.
Yep. You got to do all that stuff. Oh, and then with Moses and Egypt and all that, you got to make sure all the firstborn sons, you know, if they don't have the goat's blood above the door, you got to make sure you get in there and kill them. You got to kill them.
That way God knows, you know.
Yeah, that way
it takes you forever to figure that out because the game doesn't hold your hand.
No, it doesn't. There's no guide. There's nothing.
Right.
Look up tutorial on YouTube.
Right. Internet didn't even exist back then. So yeah, it just
oh, sorry. HBO tube.
Yeah. But yeah, Math Blaster. Math Blaster, not a good game. I don't give a fuck what they say. There's just no reason to play that game nowadays. There's no fucking reason to play that game. It's just not.
What if you suck in math?
There's
maybe
unless you got a calculator, that's like
there's
cheating.
better
like
way,
Game Shark level of cheating.
Right,
you got a calculator,
right? Yeah. Exactly. So yeah. Oh God. Well,
making some references there.
So yep, that will do it for the video game section. Short and sweet, like I said, for the podcast. Actually, I'll do it all together. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us again. That's good. Any last final thoughts on 1983, John? The year of your birth, 1983, January 20th. You came bursting forth from your mother's fertile womb.
Oh God. No, I came through the top, man.
Yeah,
I didn't go that way. You know,
you didn't go out the front door. You went out through the roof. Yep, I got you. Yeah.
And born the same year as Un? Kim Jong-un?
Yeah, Kim Jong-un. We're basically twins.
So, well, I mean, you're basically the same age. So, like, he's in control of the totalitarian, like, dictatorship. He's the dictator. And then and then what are you doing with your life? You know, it's
Right.
like
I
am this
kids.
age, but he's got, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I succeeded. I got 3 kids. We're good.
Actually,
no, I'm just saying, like, imagine the life he's living. You know?
Yeah.
Well,
Like being your, yeah.
Well, I mean, he got, I would say, incredibly fortunate to be born into just that family. I mean, of all the families to be born into in North Korea, that's winning the lottery 3 or 4 times over. In a sense, in another
While
sense,
getting struck by lightning.
His father, Kim Jong-il, originally had married someone else and had children. Then he divorced his wife and married another woman, who was Kim Jong-un's mother. And he favored Kim Jong-un so much that he killed his wife and his other kids.
Holy shit! What?
So he's, I guess, lucky in that sense as well.
Yeah.
Extremely lucky.
Yeah.
And,
I'd say John's living a way better life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm doing all right.
John's
would be
doing
kind of cool
fantastic.
to have your own country, though. I mean,
although it would be cool.
At such a young age, because I mean, let's be honest, it is still a pretty young age.
Yeah.
Still got a lot. There's more.
Before we go here, I want to do a shout out here. I've been looking at some of our statistics here just for the hell of it, and I noticed we have it seems we have a fan in Australia, somewhere in the Melbourne, Australia area. I just say thank you for listening to our podcast, and I hope you enjoy it. We continue to try and dish out this crap, and if anybody likes it, more than happy. But yeah, thank you for listening. Tell your friends, or not, keep it to yourself. You're good. All right. All right. Well, with that, I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation, and will join us again for another installment of History with Hersapet. Don't forget to hydrate, exercise, and to like and subscribe to the podcast. All these things are essential for your health and well-being. Take care of yourselves and each other.